Looks like we got a new friend! And welcome to this, another new campaign in our premiere week, Tooth, Tail and Talcum Powder, a campaign by the wonderful Heavenly. But before we go around and say hello to Heavenly and these other wonderful faces around our screen, please take a moment to check out all of our links and things. The bot is spamming them at you right now. We have social links, we have places you can go to support us, we have sponsor information. Big thank you to Mayhem Press and Bird in the Storm Publishing who make this all possible. And we also have some websites where you can get 10 to 15% discount and the tweet over there. And I think the bot's just about finishing up. Thank you, bot. Let's go around and say hello to everyone. First of all, 'tis Aliens, Heavenly. Oh, hi!
Hi! I'm so excited to be doing this thing that I'm doing. So I'm only a little nervous because I'm like putting out these things that I've created. And there's already some like really bad jokes like right out the gate. So I'm super excited.
I mean, that just sounds utterly perfect to me. I'm looking forward to the jokes as much as anything else. Why don't we go clockwise around the screen and welcome back Shakespeare. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. So I am Shakespeare. I am so happy to be here. I love playing 5e. It's one of my favorite systems. And I love this channel. So I'm just so happy to be back. It's going to be so much fun.
We're glad to have you. Next around, we welcome back Gloss and Gadgets. Leonie, oh hi!
Oh hi! It's been a while since I've been here, but I'm here now. And you probably won't get rid of me. I'm like gonorrhea. You just, once I'm here, I'm just stuck with me. So I'm really excited. Definitely.
What an intro. What an intro. We can treat you, but we'll never get rid of you. Great. Thank you so much, Leonie. Next around, we have Imperator Penguin. Oh, hi, Tommy.
Oh, hey there. I'm Tommy, and I am super excited to be here on the Scratticus Academy channel. I am super excited to play with some people I've played with before, and to play with some amazing people that I've never played with before. And I'm super excited for all of this and all of our characters. And yeah.
It's a pleasure to be role-playing with you again, Tommy. I don't think we've actually role-played together since City of Mists, right?
Nope. Yeah, that was the last time.
That was the last time. It was a while back, yeah.
Yeah, that was half a year back or so.
Yeah. The funny thing, yesterday Sheepdog was on the show. We were doing Warhammer, and once again there was a creepy massage scene. They seem to follow Sheepy around.
Yeah, apparently.
Without much further ado, oh hi, I'm Scratticus. You might know me from this channel. Let's hand back over to Heavenly. Heavenly, let's get in your story. I'm excited.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't even know how to begin. Okay, so I wrote an intro. I'm joking. I know how to begin. I'm a professional. Can they hear the music in the chat? Can they hear Roll20's music?
Yeah, they should be able to.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, I picked out some baller music. Thank you to Kevin MacLeod, who creates fantastic music for us to use for free. What a true ally. All right. So, shall we begin? Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Talonford was the first city built along Priory Bay, and the once fragile and outdated town has grown as illustrious as the nation over the decades. While parts of Talonford maintain its old-fashioned charm, much has been rebuilt, including the main port of entry along the western coast. Priory Bay is the largest port access across Omaria, and the skyline of Talonford is known for its sea of white sails that grace the harbor. The first portion of dock has been left alone, nostalgia winning over common sense, and the salty air, harsh winds, and decades of abuse have rendered the eastern portion of the docks unusable by the main populace. It still sees a fair bit of foot traffic, small private boats take advantage of the inexpensive docking prices, and many taverns have kept their original location on the dilapidated boardwalk. Salt has rusted nearly every door and window hinge that faces the water, and many signs hang salted in place, build up from the sea coating unprotected wood until gristles grow so thickly one could snap off a piece to cook with. Whatever its old name, this area of the city is now known as the Salt Lick, the air and residents flavored by the sea. Dr. Sporin, a portly goblin of middle years, has made his way with great care to the Salt Lick. He walks past some of the more famous taverns, known for rowdy nights and their history serving some of the first sailors come to Talonford, and strides with purpose to a small inn tucked between an abandoned fishmonger shop and a boat salesman who hasn't seen a customer in nearly 7 years. The Come On Inn has a decent enough reputation, cheap drinks and live music, but it's a different sort of service he seeks today. He needs help, and he's come to find the Hollow Hoods. It's early enough in the morning that the patrons in booths are still sleeping off the revelry of the night before. Hexley, the innkeeper who allows the Hollow Hoods to take up residence on the 4th floor, is aggressively mopping. Where do we find Asuka at this hour?
So about can you remind me what time of day exactly this was?
It's pretty early. I'd say maybe 8 a.m.
8 a.m. So Asuka would be down in the in sort of the I'm blanking on the word. Where you eat food, the dining area. There we go. It's it's still 11 a.m. here in the Pacific Coast. In the dining area.
Okay. So the main part of the tavern.
They are currently the main part of the tavern. They are currently seated at a table somewhere, and they have all the accoutrement for making tea in front of them. And they are currently steeping the tea at the moment, having asked the either the kitchen people or the barkeep for some hot water, and they're currently waiting for it to steep, and then once they feel that it is appropriate, they take it up and they pour it into a little sort of clay cup, and then they're just sitting there holding the cup because they cannot actually drink tea, for they are a sentient suit of armor. And so they're just sitting there holding a warm, steaming cup of tea.
All right. I think Dr. Sporen, as much as this is a very diverse city, a helmed horror has always been a bit of an oddity. And so Dr. Sporen actually recognizes you right away, if not by name. He knows that you are part of the group that he looks for. So he's going to kind of delicately, he has papers clutched close to his chest, and he will pick his way across the sticky floor towards you. Hello, sir? Would you perhaps be part of the Hollow Hoods? I need help.
Asuka will, and just to sort of give the audience sort of an idea of what Asuka looks like. Asuka looks like a sort of a suit of samurai armor, very sort of ornamental. They are, they are in colors of brown and black and white, and they have this painted symbol of a sparrow on their chest. But their armor has since been worn and cracked, and you can see that there's a wing broken on the side of their helmet. And they nod once and return to holding their tea, waiting for the goblin to go on.
Before the goblin goes on, Asuka, you remember a similar scene a couple of years ago when you first came to Messir, the nation that we are currently in, that Talonford is a part of. You were a wanderer before coming to Messir, traveling across Omara and the 5 nations. What brought you here?
Well, so Asuka is the reason they're in Omara is that they are looking for home. They set out on a task given to them by their master a long time ago, and they accomplished that task many miles from home, across many seas and lands. And upon their return journey, the magic that's holding them together has started to fall apart, and they no longer remember where they're from. And so they are seeking for someone that hopefully knows, perhaps where others that would wear armor like theirs, or where the symbol that they wear upon their chest is from. And so they came here. All they remember is they needed to go west, and they came here, and they're looking for leads on how to get home.
When you first enter Talonford, it's quite a sight. It is an old town, and Messir, the nation that Talonford is a part of, originally built all of its settlements along the port because for such a long time the southern region was completely uninhabitable. And so although with time they've been able to spread further south into the desert regions, a big chunk of the populace is in these small portside towns, and since Talonford is the biggest, this is where almost everyone is. So when you first come into Talonford, you would notice that there are so many people. When you walk through the streets, people are brushing up against you. There are children screaming everywhere, people having loud conversations, drunks reeling through the street at all hours. What is this like for Asuka when he first comes to such a hugely populated and boisterous town?
I think that it's a little jarring for them. They've mostly traveled by themselves for a long time. They got sidetracked many times along their journey to help out small villages and towns. They live by a certain code that requires them to help those in need. And so they've mostly spent, time in smaller areas. So it's a little bit disconcerting as they're looking around at all the people, and they're not really sure where to start. Perhaps at the port area.
Do you think that he's looking around, or are you striding forward with purpose? Like you're just gonna walk, and wherever you get, you'll figure it out?
I think that they look around for a moment, assessing the situation, and then once they sort of know, once they sort of scope out the land, they will immediately start walking towards towards where they want to go, which would probably be sort of where the docks are.
As you took this moment to pause, someone took advantage of the fact that you were no longer moving, and you find in your path a small goblin holding a bunch of papers, and he goes, hello, would you like to come to our tea shop? It's just opened. Sir, please, our tea shop. And as people are walking by, he's like shoving pamphlets in their hands, like kind of aggressively going after people. And the fact that you're standing still means that you're a prime target. And he looks up at you and extends a pamphlet. Tea. First cup is free on the house.
Asuka will sort of tilt their helmet head to the side, take it and look at it. And
you see on the pamphlet that there is elaborately written, "Don't tea leaf me out. Grand opening. First cup of tea free."
Asuka like tilts their head a little further as they read this, and they tap the shoulder of the goblin, and they point at the pamphlet. And then they sort of open their arms like out to the town, sort of shrugging.
It's just right over there. And he points. He kind of picks up that you're gesturing that you don't know where it is, though he looks quizzically up at you like, why don't you just fucking ask me? But he points, and you can see there is a banner kind of drifting in the wind. It's this beautiful green color, and below it is a temporary banner that says grand opening.
They will nod, sort of give a nod bow to the goblin, and then start marching off towards the tea shop.
Yeah, there's a small little crowd inside, and there are a couple of people kind of already at tables drinking tea. It's not too noisy, but they've attracted some people. Their pamphlets and the goblin's tactic seems to be working. And there's the counter, and behind the counter is a very fragile, almost looking, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing this correctly, Kenku. That's the name of the race, right?
Yes.
Yeah, a very kind of fragile Kenku, and he's bent over and he's making tea. He's delicately pouring and then putting down the pot, lifting, making sure the water ratio is right, putting down the cup, pouring in more water, and just repeating this process across a small handful, maybe 3 or 4 cups of tea in front of him.
Asuka will knock and sort of let them know that they are entering. And once they sort of make themselves, like once Asuka sees that they sort of acknowledge them, they will sort of give a very deep bow, and sort of look around, unsure of, is there like a seating area?
Yeah, there's like bar seating, tea bar seating.
Tea bar seating. They're kind of look at it quizzically because it's not sort of the way they're used to doing tea. For them, making tea is very much a ceremony, usually not done at a bar. And
It's a tea bar.
they will stand in front of the bar.
He acknowledges your presence. He kind of quickly looks up and then nods and then looks back down as he goes back to this elaborate ritual of brewing all of these different cups of tea. And after a moment of silence, he says, "Are you here for your free cup? I can't give it to you if you don't ask."
Asuka will look around, and then they will take out a little journal they keep at their side and flip it open a couple about midway, and they'll take out a little paintbrush and a little pot of ink. They'll dip it in, and then they'll start writing on their journal. Yes, but I'm more interested in what type of tea you're serving, and then we'll show it to the Kenku.
A strong and silent type. You won't find that much here. And he kind of looks to the side. It's gotten very noisy of recently. They're doing construction on the western port, and everyone's come into the main part of the city, but good time to open a tea shop, I suppose. Well, goes back to pouring, and he kind of pushes some of the teas to the side, and there's a little goblin, different from the goblin who met you, but looks pretty similar. You're thinking maybe they're related. Comes through and is kind of giving them out to people. I'm brewing today a special batch for the grand opening. This is a golden tipped white tea. Very rare. Would you like to smell it? And he holds a cup to you.
Asuka nods very, very strongly at this and will hold the cup of tea between their hands and just sort of hold it there in front, as if, where you would hold it as if you were able to smell it or drink it. There's sort of right there, and their armor sort of moves in a way that implies that they are, there's a sigh, just like the shoulders tense and relax. If they had eyes, they'd be closed.
He watches you and kind of nods approvingly and says, someone who can appreciate the finer things in life. I think you and I will become very good friends. And Asuka, you're remembering this first interaction you've had as Dr. Sporin comes towards you with these papers clutched to his chest. And he juts them forward and says, I need help. Gather your crew.
Asuka will make the motion to stop. One moment. Continue to enjoy their tea for about a minute. And then sets it down, nods, and will go to find one of their other party members.
All right. So, let's see here. Oh, I lost my track in my notes. So, I'm sorry, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Astromachi?
Aristomachi.
Aristomachi. So, Aristomachi, you have won the coveted corner room of the 4th floor. And no one really will say how, but we imagine that it involves some type of feat of strength against a smaller member of your crew. And light has begun to trickle through the 2 large windows that made this room so ideal for you and what you wanted to do with it. It's early in the morning. Do we find you awake, or are you still sleeping? Oh, you're muted.
Here we go. Did it straight away. So you would definitely find Aristomachi awake, she would be busy tending to her plants.
What does your room look like with all of these plants?
So imagine, if you will, very bereft of furniture. The bed is very simple. There is a small dresser to keep clothing. But from floor to ceiling, on every surface, and on surfaces that are not covered, there are plants. Wall climbing plants, potted plants, plants just growing wild upon the floorboards.
And I think even you have such an amazing green thumb that even from the outside hall, people can see these little tendrils of plants coming out the bottom of the door and crawling up. So even the outside of your door has this kind of halo of plants, as if indicating that you're about to be stepping into something almost otherworldly in its greenery. When you first came to Messir all of those years ago, it must have been quite a shock. Where you're from, it's so beautiful. Nature and humanity, or rather civilization, I should say, live in perfect harmony with one another. And Messir seems to have been cut out of what little feasible land there was to build on. What was it like for you when you first entered this crazy haphazard city full of loud people and slanted buildings carved into the mountainsides?
It was definitely overwhelming, being that I was from a small, quiet, peaceful community. Aristomachi would have struggled at first to find calm amongst so much chaos.
When you first come to the city, what are you looking for? What do you think might give you calm in all of this chaos?
So I am running from my family. I want to leave my past behind me. And here is a land that possibly could be turned beautiful and green and wild.
What do people see as you're making your way through the streets of Talonford and you're looking for something that may be a spot to start over?
Well, I think what people would see is me, for I am 11 feet tall and tower over most. They would see a female minotaur with fur covering the entire of her body in golden tendrils, and upon her head, finely braided dreads, decorated of tiny little bells, and she jingles as she walks.
So you probably make a lot of noise while you walk, it sounds
Always. Tall and loud.
One of the things that you would notice as you're striding through Talonford that may be unfamiliar to you is that your feet make a lot of noise. The streets are completely cobbled. The dirt underneath has been covered entirely, and you can't even see any little pockets of green. So as you stride, your hooves are clopping, your bells are ringing. And although no one turns to stare, you're not that unusual of a sight. How does it feel for you to take up so much space, to feel so large?
Well, I was always surrounded by large people, so coming to a place where there are people underfoot for a change.
There are little goblins running everywhere. There are small, little, tiny kobolds screaming through the streets.
Yes, I'm very self-conscious on how large I am, and maybe begin to doubt if I belong here.
As you're thinking that, you pass a shop that claims to have as many and exactly what you need. Potions, elixirs, herbs from exotic lands.
Excellent. Perhaps they have seeds.
Do you want to go in?
Yes, please.
You open the door and it is like a breath of fresh air. There are greens everywhere hanging from the ceiling. Little critters and spiders have made themselves at home, and they don't seem to be taking up any space. No one is afraid of them. And shopping, you find a gargoyle, an old withered thing that has cracks all over their body from age. And every now and again, they almost seem to turn to stone before your eyes before they kind of shake themselves awake and begin looking again. And you can hear them muttering to themselves, none of this is what I'm looking for. God, when did this place go to shit?
Suraga Karatak. Perhaps I can help you.
That was so cool! Sorry, I didn't know she was going to do that. It was really cool.
Okay, surprise!
The gargoyle turns and gives you a wicked look. You can't be any more useless than the piece of shit running this place! And you hear from the back door, bah, shove it, Nala! But you see no other creature. And Nala goes, yes.
The very boss no Karatin. A person is more than their horns.
I like the way you talk. It makes my stones rumble, if you know what I mean. I'm looking for some healing herbs. One of my compatriots took a poison dagger to the ribs. It's a horrible sight, and they're beginning to stink.
Ah, I see. Do you know what poison they took?
No, I believe it was something organic in nature. When I touched it to my tongue, began to sizzle, but we haven't been able to figure it out. Our own healer ran off with one of our marks. It's something I don't want to talk about right now.
I see. Well, you cannot find an antidote to poison unless you know what the poison is itself.
Well, I don't know what to do. I'm not a healer. I'm a leader, an inspirer, a speech maker. And I'm very tired.
Orikata.
And she will reach and get these, reach for a box of just general herbs, and she will lower them down to the gargoyle.
If you take these and add them to a purified water, it can nullify most agents, but you definitely need to identify that poison. It is a mere band-aid.
I like band-aids. Tell me, what is the cost of your services if I needed you to identify this poison?
My cost?
Yes, if I brought you to this dying hunk of a useless... If I brought you to the man who has been poisoned and is bleeding out all over my room, what would I pay you?
Well, let us see if I can identify it first before you start throwing your money around.
That's not how labor costs work, but I like the way that you think. If you would please follow me. My home is not too far. It's just on the docks. It's messy.
I will forgive you.
The gargoyle looks very pleased at this random happen chance and quickly puts the herbs away and then grabs a couple of other things and throws some coins on the counter before shouting, "Fuck you!" and heads out the door. And as you're leaving, you hear another voice that's like, "Go die!" And as Nala heads out, she looks up at you and says, "It's my sister."
Families can indeed be troubling.
She moves quite quickly for an old wizened gargoyle. She kind of like hobbles, but manages to hobble rather expediently through the area, and she leads you closer and closer to the docks. And as you get closer, you can feel that salt as it thickens the air and it presses into your skin, and you can taste it on your tongue. This might feel a little bit more familiar to you. This is a wild part of the city. No matter how much they have tried to push against the tumultuous nature of the sea, it has always pushed back. And so the buildings are kind of encrystallated in these salt mounds, and the cobblestone has given way to the ground peeking through.
Aristomache will take a moment to just take in the wild. It'd been so long since she'd seen something wild grow, and a little pang of missing home gets at her, even though she knows she can never go back.
The gargoyle maybe sees this across your face, but decides not to say anything. If anything, she respects personal struggle. And as she leads you forward, she brings you to a very humble, small, kind of broken down inn that has written across the top, "The Come On Inn." It's a stupid name, but they let us live here, so what am I to complain?
I do not get it.
Oh, it's like, come on in. It's the come on. This is exactly the point. This is why it's stupid, because no one gets it. It's weird. Anyways, come on in and save my friend. He's dying. Thank you.
Lead the way, Karatak.
Thank you very much to Kentucky Hawkeye, who donates a reroll to Aristomache.
It's a great voice.
Thank you.
So as Nala leads you in to the come on in and takes you up the stairs, kind of giving a cursory wave to the same tiefling Hexley that Dr. Sporen saw mopping the ground aggressively, only now Hexley is mopping the bar, like he's rubbing her really aggressively. Nala gives him kind of a cursory wave, and she takes you into the room that you have inherited and that we find you on this morning, as a small portly goblin is demanding that the crew be summoned. Only now you have made it your own, and there is no longer a bleeding compatriot of the Hollow Hoods dying, and instead there are flowers and vines and leaves everywhere. Do you come downstairs when you wake up, or do you wait for someone to come and fetch you? No, you're muted.
No, you're muted.
Ah, bollocks!
There we
There
go.
There we go.
Bloody mic, it's new. Forgive me. Sorry, I didn't realize you were talking to me. Yes, I come down. As soon as I finish tending to my plants.
So, Asuka, as you're telling or you're emoting to Dr. Sporen for him to wait a moment, you see your compatriot come down. I'm gonna keep pronouncing your name so I can get it like super. You see Aristomache coming down the stairs.
Asuka will sort of wave to get her attention and motion for her to join them, and hand her a cup. We'll pour her a cup of tea. It's very small. It's a very small cup. that like set of cups that they. So I imagine it's tiny compared.
Just a little thimble.
and hand it to you.
Siriga carries in. Knock it back.
Asuka's still not used to like people knocking tea back, right? Like that's just like.
As you approach, Dr. Sporen's eyes get very large and he looks you up and then he looks over at the helmed whore in front of him and says, "Okay, I think you guys can get the job done. Are there more of you or what? Like, how many more should I expect? Are they all this big?"
Zuko will like tell them to and motion that there are 2 more.
Well, they aren't all that big, which is nice. And in fact, we have a little one in our party. Gerbil, are you still up from the night before? Do we find you sulking somewhere this sunny, beautiful morning?
Gerbil is most likely... he doesn't sleep much. He's too suspicious. He's always thinking that there's people out to get him. So his little frame will be always looking tired, massive bags under his eyes as he's looking around for potential assailants, and as the sun rises, he maybe wakes from another half an hour's nap with a start, drawing his knife as he does.
Where are you in the inn? You guys have the entire 4th floor to yourself, but I wonder if Gerbil sleeps next to the others.
No. Gerbil sleeps in the barn with the animals. Gerbil is much more comfortable around animals than people. They don't make him clam up and go quiet and make him go all angry. He's an interesting little character. He stands only at 3'4", and he doesn't have beard or any facial hair or hair on his head. He has a long leather scrip that hangs down both sides, and his face seems to, instead of growing a beard, it seems that his skin has grown in his age. He stands at the grand age of 13, middle-aged for a goblin. And his chin has grown long and pointy as this dangle of skin flops around, and so too has his nose covering his mouth. And he will be leaving the barn cautiously.
As you step out into the morning light, you're in an area of the city that isn't too well populated any longer. It's mainly the inns and the taverns that were first here to greet sailors, and the only people here really are the few that dock and the people who have chosen to make their home along this area. So luckily the streets are quite clear, and you know from the night before that there weren't too many people at the Come On In, which feels comforting to you. You're from Messir, but from the south, from the desert region, where for a long time no one dared to live. What was it like for you coming to the city? Why did you decide to leave your desert caves?
Necessity. He liked his little cave, but after a long time of living, his little pool of water started to dry up and taste funny as the minerals started getting into it, and he was cautious for his safety. So he would have scooped up a water skin or two and made the journey towards the city, and frankly it was horrible. Every step of the way was disgusting. It was sandy, it was dry, he was having to drink water very rarely, and sand gets everywhere. But his levers that cover his body have been rearranged to try and keep out desert sands, and he's never bothered to remove them again. So he sort of looks almost garbed in these leather flaps all over the place, a little bit like a sand, one of the sand people from Star Wars almost, but leather.
Yeah. Okay. And when you first came to the city, were you looking for anything in particular, or was this just a place for you to stop for the night?
Well, he would want to go back to solitude eventually, but he understands how cities worked. He hasn't always lived in solitude. He was once a city dweller and realizes that if he's going to stay for any time, he needs to find work and people and all those other inconvenient things. So he would have come looking to sell his blade for coin.
Okay. You aren't necessarily a rare sight. There are goblins everywhere, but there is something about your attitude that draws people towards you, or rather draws them away from you. Maybe it's because you are constantly hunched up, and when you move, it looks like you're on a mission, and it looks like you don't want to be stopped. But as you're making your way through the city streets, people are kind of like avoiding you. You hear one woman grab her child and she says, "Don't look at this weird goblin, darling," as they continue on their way. It isn't until you hear a voice behind you that perhaps you stop as someone says, "You know, they say you'll catch more flies with honey than vinegar."
Keep your flies.
Well, I do love flies. I would be happy to keep them to myself. And out of the corner of your eye, you see a very slow moving turtle. And he's sitting outside of what is a fantasy apartment complex on the porch with a steaming cup of something putrid smelling and a little plate of flies.
Whoa. I thought that was a metaphor.
Well, yes, it is both. But also, I forgot to eat lunch, and so I am snacking. Where are you off to, so grim little one?
I too need food, so I go to find my companions.
You know someone in the city?
Yes?
Well, I hope you find them, but I have my daughter over and she is cooking a fine meal, if and perhaps you are hungry and need a meal.
I can look after myself just fine, thank you, he says, walking towards the turtle and into his house.
As you walk by him, the turtle's like, okay. When you walk inside this home, it's very small, but you can tell that a lot of people live here. There is just stuff everywhere. It's not full of garbage. It doesn't look messy. It just looks really lived in. And at the small fire, there is a turtle woman very slowly stirring a stew. Ah, we have guests, I see. Are you a friend of my father's?
No, what? Yeah, no, I'm a guest. Food.
Ah, yes. And she kind of looks you over and rolls her eyes and mutters under her breath, "He always does find the strange ones," as she continues to stir. He slowly makes his way into the house and gestures for you to sit at a table. "It is just the three of us today. The grandchildren are all out for the day, sailing with their father. We are happy for you to join us." The daughter makes her way over to you with a ladle, and very, very slowly.
Okay, come on, give it here, give it here.
Oh my, you are very hungry. She just puts the pot in front of you and sits down with a slow dawning realization of horror.
And Gerbil will find himself standing on the table ladling out food for them all because he couldn't stand how slowly she was doing it. He's like,
Look, you can ladle faster if you just put some effort in.
Thank you very much. She looks at her father, and her father kind of like crinkles up his little face and just like shrugs his weird turtle shoulders. I don't know if they can shrug. He like is like, "Moo." So, friend, what brings you to town?
This food mostly.
Have you had no food?
I've had enough, but you always need more. That's the trouble with food. You always need more.
Too true, my dude. And he's very slowly eating. Your friends who are in town, where are they located?
I've heard they're staying at the... Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Whoa. Oh, it's an inviting name. It sounds horrible.
Yes. And he looks at his daughter, and his daughter exchanges a look with him, and she says, yes, the come on in. You know the Hollow Hoods, I presume?
Mayhap I do. Honestly, I suggested Death and Axes. Much nicer in, all dark and dingy.
and he'll take his spoon, lift his nose, and put the spoon up his nose to like scrape at the inside, and then carry on eating.
Ah, yes, they have quite the reputation. You know, Father, just the other day, that terrible leader of theirs, Nala, completely destroyed a shop full of china. It was like a gargoyle in a china shop. Terrible.
Are you making some kind of racial pun?
No, she just is a gargoyle, and she has these fits of narcolepsy where she turns to stone as if sleeping. It's quite... And her father, like, slowly, but also fast enough to stop her because they're on the same, like, turtle speed, interrupts his daughter and says, "Darling, it is not nice to spread rumors." If our friend here, excuse me, our guest, knows Nala, it would be rude to say awful things about her.
I don't know, Nala. But it's still rude.
Right you are. And he gives his daughter a pointed look, and she kind of bashfully looks down at her soup and continues to slowly eat it. And all of those, yeah?
Well, as Gerbil finishes off the stew much faster than the two turtles, obviously.
Of course, they've only had like 3 bites.
He licks the spoon and bowl clean and puts both of them in his bag.
The daughter looks like she's going to say something. But the father is like, "We have plenty of bowls." And so she reels back. And all of those years ago, you made your way to the Come On In, and here you are, still. You never left. And much to Nala's just utter horror, you became a part of the group simply by just never, ever leaving. And so on this day where 2 of your compatriots are inside with a small little fellow goblin, you have just woken up from your little nap and you're heading out. Do you head towards the come on in, or are you going to take a stroll?
I'll head towards the come on in, but they'll be expecting me to come through the front door. So I'll climb the drain pipe and come in through the window. That way no one can jump any assassins or anything on me or pickpocket my items.
All right. Do you want to go ahead and roll me an athletics check to climb?
Sure.
You could do athletics or acrobatics, I guess, depending on how graceful you want to claim it is.
I'll try and be a little graceful. Why not?
Okay. Yeah, so you pretty effortlessly climb this drain because it's near the sea. It's so salted that there's actually a bit of grip, which makes it really easy. It has lost its smooth edge as most drains, and it has some texture. And so you're able to very easily climb it. And you get to the window that would be kind of at the top of the first level, and you see a sign that's been taped on the inside of the window, and it says, "Gerbil, use the goddamn door!"
I'd like to lean off of the drain pipe.
Okay.
Oh, no, but as I'm about to do this, I realize that means they have predicted what I'm going to do, so I should do what they shouldn't think I'm going to do so that I can then do them. But wait, what if they put the sign here to make me go through the door so that then they can do... So maybe I should continue with... no. I need to burn the inn down.
Do you want to try and burn the inn down?
No, but it's the only logical explanation, only logical way out of this. Too tricky. I'll go through a different window than I normally do. This time I'm going to go through the 3rd floor. Yes.
Okay, so you keep climbing. You pass the 2nd floor. This is where the guests stay, but there aren't too many guests, so you don't spook anyone through the window. And the 3rd floor is the innkeeper Hexley's area. And you notice when you pass the 2nd floor, there's also a sign that says, "Gerbil, don't even think about it." And when you get to the 3rd floor, there's another sign in the window that says, "Gerbil, ... don't."
I would like to take my rope with grappling hook from my burglar's pack and put it on top of the window frame. Then
Okay.
that way I'll continue to climb another 3 feet up and propel myself away from the wall so I make a nice little semicircle and smash through it.
Okay.
Oh.
You do that. You break this dude's window, and you're in his room, and it's nothing fancy. He's got some like bartending equipment, and there's like a romance novel by the bed, and you're in the place.
And as I land, I like sort of break roll into the room with glass going everywhere, and as I stand, I've got rapier in one hand and a small flint knife in the other. Like,
Ha!
There's no one in the room. But you've totally, like, he had a nice carpet, and when you landed, you bunched it up, so it's like bunched up and pushed against the window, and there's glass everywhere.
I'll just roll up the carpet and throw it out the window. That's a problem for someone else now. I'm gonna go over to the wall and I'm gonna write on the wall with some chalk or charcoal that I picked up somewhere, or even just grime, anything I've got really. I'm just gonna write "Old Tortle was here."
Okay.
And then leave via the door.
Do you spell turtle correctly?
I don't spell any of it correctly.
All right.
Which is
You
deliberate.
go down.
I'm actually quite intelligent, but if they know that, then they know that I'd spell it right. So I'm going to intelligently spell it
Yeah.
wrong.
Totally. Yeah.
Gotta stay ahead of these people.
You go downstairs and you see sitting at a booth at their normal booth is Asuka with their morning cup of tea, and next to them is, let me go to my little pronunciation guide I gave myself, Aristomachi, and she is also like just kind of throwing back a cup of tea, and in front of them is a very nerdy looking goblin. No one has seen you.
I said, can I sneak into the room and pretend I've been here the whole time?
Definitely. Roll me a stealth check.
That's actually
Okay.
a nat 1, but still a 14.
So it's a nat 1. It's a 14, but it's a nat 1. Oh, hey, what's my camera doing? Hey, camera.
Oh,
Hey, camera. Hey, camera.
There we go.
I moved too much. It's like, stop it. I can't autofocus.
So my passive is actually 17. Can I notice him trying to sneak in?
Oh, he nat failed. Everyone notices him. He goes. You go to the top of the stairs and you kind of like bunch up in like classic sneaking form, and you just fall down. You just hit every stair on the way down. And Hexley, from where he's mopping, like tightens his grip on the mop, and the stem starts to break, and he's like, God damn it, Gerbil! And then just goes back to mopping.
Can I make an acrobatics check to see if I can land on my feet at the bottom and
Yeah.
walk as though nothing had happened? I'd like to play it cool. You know?
Oh my God.
Make it.
Yeah, you manage to catch yourself on the third stair, and you do a cartwheel, and you cartwheel onto your feet. And some of the patrons like drunkenly are like, ah, from where they're still recovering from their hangovers at the booth.
Shut up!
Asuka will turn their head to look at Gerbil and just raise their hand to their helmet and wave hello.
Gerbil will also
And motion for him to join them.
Gerbil will salute back, but in raising hand to head, they catch the end of their nose and push the point all the way to their forehead, and then sniff it down like.
Dr. Sporin looks over at Gerbil, and his face, he's trying to smile and be really happy, but there's a moment where he's like, ah, wonderful. What a great pair you all make. There's one more that I'm expecting. Is this true? I don't want to have to repeat myself.
Asuka nods and then hands reluctantly a cup to Gerbil. Just, like somewhat reluctantly. Just
do not worry about him. He is all horns, no head.
So there is still one more person that we're expecting. Where might we find our fourth member on this early morning?
Then he's not really an early riser. So in the corner of the room, there's a big barrel. It looks kind of like a cask of wine, you might expect it, but it's slightly bigger and occasionally seems to wobble a bit. And hearing this kind of commotion of someone falling downstairs, you just kind of see this kind of goo kind of lift up in an almost kind of antennae-like way with an orb kind of stuck in the end, almost like a snail's eye. It kind of looks like static honey. And then the rest of the goo kind of starts to kind of muffin top over the edge of the barrel, kind of dragging itself out of the barrel until almost like an armchair's worth of living honey has kind of pulled itself over the edge of the barrel and just kind of flat to the ground with this little orb encased in it, still kind of aloft, almost kind of like a sock puppet looking round.
Dr. Sporin sees this and screams.
And almost from like the end, there's no mouth, but the tentacle that is holding the orb, a bit of it wibbles, and not in time with the words that are issuing from the center of what looks like a massive pile of goo. No, I'm okay. Stop noising. I'm fine.
Sorry, I didn't know that there was a living thing in that barrel, and so when it came out, I was spooked. But I'm fine. I'm fine now. I'm fine. Thank you. I'm fine. This is normal.
And this mass just kind of like oozes towards the table. And as it gets closer, it's fairly obvious there are things suspended in it, like a prank jelly. Just little things that are like slightly too deep for you to make out what they actually are. But there's coins in there. There's gold coins that kind of are nearer the surface. They catch the light and glitter. And there's also
shiny.
what looks like glitter stuck just under the surface, like it's been rolled in something shiny and has absorbed it. And just kind of plops its way over to the table with this orb kind of held aloft, like, and it comes to stop next to its companions. It's like,
Asuka
are we
will hand
having tea?
Yeah, Asuka will hand you a cup as well.
The cup just sinks into it.
You've been traveling for a while, and you're not necessarily unfamiliar with the kind of shocked interactions or the shocked reactions rather that people have when they see you. When you first came to Messir after traveling by slime trailing all the way here from your home, what were you looking for?
New things. I want to see all the things, all of the people and all of the places and just everything.
Now, this was very different from the cities that you're used to. From Jadir, everything is so clean and beautiful, and the cities had this illustrious quality. Everything was held together by magic, and everything had its place. The streets were clean. Messir, and specifically Talonford in general, is very different. It's not dirty, but they clearly don't have little magical beans that keep their street clean. And the people don't necessarily have this need to appeal to some picturesque idea of what a city should look like. So they're loud and they're raunchy and there's a lot going on. What was it like for you to go from these austere, beautiful quality of these perfectly sculpted cities to this more haphazard collection of buildings that was built around a port of entry?
Oh, it was wonderful. Jadir, everything was so perfect and nothing they could do, no matter how much shiny they took, they could never feel pretty. Not when everything else was so perfect and right-angled and kind of far shinier than they were. So coming to Messir, it was just like, oh, I can be pretty here. The dirt was interesting because they had to figure out a way to clean everything. Because as they're rolling along, it's like one of those sticky toys. They just pick it up.
Definitely. By the time
kind of expel it constantly.
By the time you get into the city, you are covered in sand. The city itself has done a good job keeping out the desert of the area. They've built the cobblestones, and for the most part, except for if there's a really stiff breeze that brings everything in, the further you get into the city, the less there is sand and everything. But when you first come, you are just covered in these tiny little granules that have lodged themselves in your body. It's a little uncomfortable, to be honest.
Just as soon as some sort of civilization appears, it's bathhouse, I need a bathhouse, I need just some area of water, please, I'm not pretty.
Do you ask anyone or do you just kind of roll through the city?
The first person I see.
Okay.
Kind of like squidge on up to them and almost like putty kind of pull myself up to their height. And the orb kind of like wiggles through the ooze to kind of plop almost half out of the front. You just be like, hello.
Well, you're lucky the first person you see is actually a tabaxi child. And so you don't have to pull yourself up too much to their height. But as you do this, they stop what they're doing. They have school books under one hand and a little lunchbox in the other, and they drop the lunchbox. Whoa.
Hello.
Hey.
Do you know where a bathhouse is, or a pool, or a pond, or a puddle? Lots of
My mommy said that I'm not supposed to talk to strangers, but I don't know what you are. Are you a
Mr.
stranger?
Bobby.
Oh, hi, Mr. Bobby. My name's Kenneth.
Kenneth. Like there's a little, like a nubble of ooze just kind of becomes almost like a trunk and just waves. Like,
Whoa. He waves his tail at you, which is his way of kind of mimicking what you're doing. Well, there's the bathhouse just, down there where everyone goes, but also there is the sea.
Heavenly, would I have seen the sea before? Because I think Jadir is fairly landlocked.
I don't think you would have seen the sea. There definitely is a coast to Jadir, but you came from kind of the central, like, Midwest version. And I don't know that you would have gone east to the sea if you were trying to leave Jadir. You would have headed west. So I don't know that you have ever seen the sea. Rivers and lakes, yes, but never the ocean.
What's the sea? Is it wet? I need wet.
Oh, it's the biggest wet.
Oh.
In fact, sometimes I go to the sea with my parents, and if you turn your back on it, it will take you under and just get you so wet. And then your parents will be like, "So you should never turn your back to the sea. Now you're taking away. We didn't bring towels. We're just gonna have fun. This was supposed to be a picnic."
And there's just a moment where the ooze just doesn't move, just trying to work its way through that. Which is cleaner? I'm icky. I don't want to be.
Well, and he kind of holds a finger out and then stops. Can I poke you?
And like the orb wiggles.
He puts his finger in you. Ah! Wah! I'm never washing this hand again.
There's no actually if the finger goes in and comes out, there's no like residue or anything. It is
right,
like putty.
Exactly. But
like
still, he thinks it's really cool. Well, the sea is full of creatures. That's like the little ones and also big ones. So I don't know that it's super clean, and fish pee in it. The bathhouse is probably the best spot.
And like the orb just kind of exaggerated nodding. Okay.
You can just go down. It's just on this street. There's a sign out of it that says bathtub.
Bathtub.
Okay. It's called the bathtub. Because
okay,
it's a big tub. Yeah.
Do you want something shiny? I have shiny.
Yes.
And like a little like tendril flops out, and you can see like a gold coin moving all like along this tendril until it kind of like oozes out the end and just like drops into his hand.
Ah! Do you want something too?
Is it shiny? Is it pretty? I like being pretty.
It is shiny. And he picks up his lunchbox and he opens it and he pulls out a big red apple.
It's so pretty. And the tendril kind of just like engulfs it and his hand, but when it moves back, the apple just comes with it. And the apple's just suspended. And it takes a second, but the apple moves up and it's next to the orb, so it looks like two very, very strange eyes.
Well, I have to go to school, Mr. Bobby. My name is Kenneth and I live with my parents if you want to come and hang out sometime. Bye! And he just runs off.
Bye! Okay. Shiny. And the apple is like slowly starting to just dissolve at the edges. Shiny. And heads towards the bathtub.
The bathtub. You find the bathtub and there's just There's someone operating the counter, I suppose. And when they see you, they're like, "Oh, welcome into the bathtub. Are you here to get clean?"
Yes!
Are you mocking me?
No, I don't know. You did the thing, so I did. Do I not do the thing that you do?
It's kind
No.
of my thing, so it's just weird if we both do it. Like, that's what I'm known for. I'm the singing bathhouse attendant. So
I
if you
won't
do
the
it, then
thing.
okay. Welcome.
Thank you.
And she gestures to you can just put your whole body in any old bath that doesn't have someone in it, unless you want to do one that has someone in it. But maybe ask them first.
And Mr. Bobby will kind of like undulate and then just move off towards a bath. Probably the first one, whether or not it has someone in it or not.
There's no one in it.
And will just oop themselves over the edge and into the water.
When you get in water, do you absorb it? Kind of like a beauty blender?
No. It's kind of like oil and water, because I'm heavier than the water, so I kind of sink to the bottom and the water rises. And then it's like a conscious letting go of stuff off my skin. So it all
Okay.
like rises to the top.
So yeah, so this water, it was very clean, it was hot, it was soapy. It just instantly becomes almost like mud because there's so much sand in your body that as the water is just wicking it from you, it's becoming thicker and thicker, like the viscosity of the tub is changing. And at some point you are just now in a mud bath.
And I will like oop myself back over the corner and go into the next tub.
Yeah, I think you have to do this maybe like 3 times. And as you're doing this, you can hear the bathhouse attendant and she's just like, "What is happening?"
And like once I get to the last tub where it's just me and water now and all of the ook has gone, like just the edges of the tendrils just like flop over the side, like, because I've seen people do this, so I'm doing it.
You look so relaxed and you feel the hot water seep into your body or rub up. I don't really know how your body works all the time.
Yep.
But you just feel the warmth as it soaks into you, and you realize that you've made it. Wherever you were going, you're here. This is where you're going to be for at least a little while. And your reception in Messir has been pretty decent. The town folk aren't too scared of you. They've never seen a sentient blob before, but you don't really get negative reactions. So Dr. Sporin screaming as you come out of the wine. What were you in? The wine.
A barrel.
Yeah, the wine barrel.
Barrel.
It's probably the first time in a while that someone's been shocked to see you because your presence is just kind of a part of this area. Like everyone knows Mr. Blobby.
It's almost like, because normally when I would have breakfast or attend breakfast with any of my compatriots, it's armchair size. Like I let myself rest in that nice little shambling mound kind of phase. Half of me is kind of like scooched down and away under the table, so I look smaller, which is practically ooze pouting.
Oh,
It's like, no.
Dr. Sporin definitely picks up that maybe he's offended you. So he quickly is like, I'm sorry. Is this all of you?
Asuka will nod.
You'll never know.
The tendril comes
like,
up to
kinda
just
like-
go 1, 2, 3. Yep.
I've come to you seeking help. I understand that the Hollowhoods are known in these parts for their willingness to do strange things that maybe other people aren't willing to do.
What's the
All
catch?
right. I'll continue. There's no catch. I'll pay you. And he starts to lay out the paperwork. My name is Dr. Sporin. I'm sure you've heard of me. My research is well known. I'm kind of a big deal. I've been working on something very special. And the other night, my camp was raided. I fled, fearing for my life, but I'm afraid that they were after my research and not just gold. I need someone to liberate my camp.
What was it that you were researching?
I can't tell you just yet. It is very important. It is huge. It could change the face of... I'm getting away from myself. It's very important to me, and I think it would be very important to everyone. It's not dangerous, but I think they want it, whoever they are.
And how far is your camp?
Someone in chat guessed the name of the doctor. Yes, I just watched Gallivant and I thought that they had a doctor named Neo of Spore and was too damn good to pass up.
Oh, I love
Thank you.
It isn't that far away. I was able to get here in just one day. You would be able to get there by nightfall for sure if you had horses.
Asuka will take out their journal as is when they're dealing with someone that perhaps doesn't understand immediately their nuances, right? And a little pot of ink, a little brush, take it out, and we'll write what attacked your camp, and hold it out to Dr. Sporin.
It was mercenaries. I was able to see two of them. One was a very large, very scary Goliath. He was yelling a lot. And the other was a very large, very scary Dragonborn. He was also yelling a lot. But they had strange armor. I don't know. I think that they were just hired. I believe that the person who coordinated the attack is my arch enemy, Dr. Panik.
So I can say that one more time.
Dr.
Who?
Panik.
Dr. Panic, not Doctor Who. So you want we should kill him?
He considers this. Yes, no. No, I took an oath that I would harm no one, even awful, terrible, no good people who just squeezed by in medical school. I don't understand how it doesn't matter.
Wait, let me stop you there, Doctor. You wouldn't be harming anyone. You'd be paying me to harm them.
He's very good. From just like under the table.
I don't think that I can ask you to kill them, but I do want to get my research back. And if he's taken it, then I want you to get it back from him. But I am a paranoid person. I'd put in a few things that I think will keep them busy. If we get there now, we may be able to stop them.
Stop them. Got it.
Stop them.
Stop.
Not forever. Not forever. Just stop them for a little bit. Just stop them from stealing my research. Is that okay? Is that something you can do?
If there was some collateral damage.
What is, and he looks at like everyone else in the party like, are you guys, what does collateral damage mean?
What do you want it to mean?
I want there to be no one being killed.
Asuka will put a reassuring gauntlet on Dr. Sporin's shoulder and just nod, just with like The rest of the crew would know that this is their reassuring nod that we understand and we can take care of this.
Mr. Blobby is kind of like gonna like ooze up to Asuka's other side, kind of like almost hopefully.
Have no
Sink
fear.
back down again.
We will see it done.
Thank you. I will pay you most handsomely if you're able to stop them from stealing my research. Now, and he shuffles the papers and pushes one towards you. This is a map to get to my encampment. Like I said, if you were to leave now, you would get there by nightfall. And I cannot stress enough how important it is that you get there before they're able to take my research. Okay. Should I just wait here? Or do you want me to like come back tomorrow? I don't know what the deal is here.
Asuka will look around at the group just like
Gobbles.
Mr. Blobby's just gonna put an empty teacup like back on the table.
We'll call you. Don't call us.
Oh, okay. So I'll just I have a shop here in town, I guess, and he scribbles the name of it down on the map. You could just go there and find me. There. Yeah.
And do you stay above the store? Is that where you live?
Above my store? Yeah, I live in my store. Doesn't everyone in this type of era? I mean, I feel like that's very medieval of us to live above our stores.
Well,
I live over there. He just points to the barrel.
Now, is your bedroom at the front or the back?
I'm not going to answer that question because I feel like you're planning a crime.
No, not planning, just a habit.
Gobble.
Asuka will start like guiding Gerbil out the door, just like
What? I was just asking questions, that's all.
and will turn and nod reassuringly to Dr. Sporin again.
Thank you. This is so, you have no idea what you're doing. This could be a breakthrough that I have discovered. And I just need a little bit more time. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, I'll be waiting for you. Good luck. Thank you. Please don't kill anyone, but thank you so much.
I'm just gonna wrap reassuringly around their ankles and then turn into a sphere and just kind of like roll after everyone. Like, goo hug.
So if you look at the map, you'll see that he was correct, that his encampment is just about a day's ride. You would be able to get there by nightfall if you were to take horses.
Where am I going to get a horse?
Do we have horses?
How are we gonna ride horses?
How are you going to ride horses?
How fast are horses?
In this setting, horses are used to the fact that they're only monsters, so they're big monster horses.
And how fast are horses?
Fast enough to get you where you need to go by nightfall.
Because I think I run faster than horses.
Oh.
I
Doesn't
definitely
matter.
do not.
I guess you might, yeah. So maybe you don't need a horse. But you may need more brakes.
You would also need a very, very strong horse.
Yes. A very big
The
horse.
biggest horse.
Very
There
big
are
horse.
horses. There are horses at the come on in. The Hollow Hoods have a few mounts that they keep since you all do like weird work every now and again.
Do they
If
have
they're big horses, would they have big saddlebags?
I would definitely like to think that Asuka has like fashioned something that Mr. Blobby can ride it.
Yeah, I was
Barrel
gonna
on
say,
the
I think at
barrel
this
and
point
they
someone
put
has
it
made
between them.
someone has made a basket for you to sit in.
Oh, yeah, it's like a little basket hanging
Yeah.
off the side.
Could I put Mr. Blobby in my alchemy jug?
Yeah,
I'm about the
well,
size
he's
of an
not a
armchair.
liquid. He's not a liquid. I think
I can fill things, but it would have to be
the
like
jug's
a
like
big
this
jug.
big, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah, I don't think he'd fit.
I'm like armchair sized.
Yeah, if he were liquid, I would say yes, but he has a little bit more girth to him.
Plus,
Yeah,
I'm
more than a
holding
gallon.
a lot of stuff.
I think he's definitely more than a gallon's worth of
Definitely more
slob.
than a gallon.
I
Like
wonder-
we've definitely fashioned a little a basket for you to ride in.
Yeah.
Do they have dog racing in this city?
Do they have dog racing in this city? Yeah,
Oh, no.
there's a racetrack for sure.
Can I?
Very humane dog racing for all of you out
Do you want to ride a giant dog instead of a horse? Is that what you're
Yes,
asking?
that's exactly what I want to do. I think a greyhound would suit my height perfectly.
This is definitely not the first time that you have brought up wanting to ride a dog instead of a horse. And so Nala very begrudgingly bought you a racing dog just to get you to shut up.
Yes!
Oh.
Much better to have a mount that
So we've
eats
got-
meat.
We've got a suit of armor on a horse with a basket with a blob in it. We've
A
got a
racing
goblin of a dog, and a large minotaur that just runs.
Just running next to you.
We're awesome.
We are not the heroes you need, but the ones you deserve.
Hang it. Let me just get my fishing rod.
They're definitely like the B team of the X-Men.
We are the Hollow Hoods.
Yep.
Do you want to gather anything before you leave? The inn is pretty well equipped with anything that you might need. Or if you need to like gather your equipment, whatever that looks like.
Everything I own is in me.
It's true.
I will need to go get my buzzing bag.
Okay. You go up and you fetch your buzzing bag, and as you come down the stairs, if anyone were to look really close, they would see that sometimes the bag like kind of tries to get away from you, and you're able to like.
Asuka, for the most part, just starts. I mean, they're like a miniature armory, as like they've got 3 swords strapped to their side by like a sash. 2 sort of long swords on one side. They're obviously they look like they're long, thin, so they look like katanas. And then sort of a shorter sword on the other side. They've got this long bow that is sort of tucked into a very fancy, well-made leather quiver hanging off their back with sort of these long arrows with these white feathers. So they're just weapons sprouting everywhere.
Okay.
Also, we've had some donations come in, so thank you very much to Tall School and We Are Nerdsmith, each of whom have given the players a critical coin flip.
Yay!
So instead of rolling a dice, we can just flip a coin and see if we get a nat fail or a nat success. And also thank you for the reroll Lord Conti, who subscribed for how many months in a row? 5 months in a row. 1 more month and you get a new badge, sir. So look forward to that.
Do you all feel ready to take off?
Yes, I have gone and gathered a fishing rod with a bunny rabbit on it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
mean-
kind
Is
of
that what
just
you were
like-
using to spur your mount on?
The only thing that works. It was a racing dog after all.
Yeah. Asuka
I'm
doesn't.
just waiting. I'm waiting by the horse. Like, can I hold anything? Anyone? No. Okay.
Asuka will just put your basket down on the ground for you to get it.
Just ooze into it. Like, thank you. Oh, it's been cleaned.
And then just attach it. Yeah, Asuka doesn't need much since they don't eat or drink, so they've just got their sort of saddle bags that have some like their, some of their stuff that they carry with them, like a teapot and a set of small teacups, and some like rope and stuff like that. But that's about all they carry with them. Their weapons and some stuff they keep in the saddle bag.
All right. So you all then begin to head out of the city, and I have our travel music queued up. Now we're traveling. Here we go. So as you begin to make your way out of the city, as populated as it is actually very small because it was kind of built upwards. There was such a small amount of land that they thought was usable at the time that the city was built with the resources. They've spread along the coast, which is the port, and then have kept rather close to it. So there's just a ton of really janky like towers and buildings stacked on top of one another. And the city is very wide, but it actually doesn't sprawl too far back away from the port. So you're able to make it out of the city relatively quickly. This isn't like a city that it takes you 5 hours to leave. You're out of it and you're on your way traveling by midday easily after taking all of your stuff and talking to Dr. Sporin. And as you're traveling and you're following your map, you're getting into the part of the world that is more sandy. This is what Masir is known for, is its desert landscape. So the small bit of oasis that was originally used to build the port city is slowly starting to fade away, and we're getting more into desert. This is where Gerbil grew up. This area is more familiar to him. It's rocky, there are cactuses, not a lot of life, not a lot of people. But there is a little bit of a road. People do come into the city, they leave, they travel. So it's not a difficult terrain to traverse. What is everyone's passive perception?
17.
Okay.
15.
11.
11. I can't see past my own nose.
I don't have eyes.
Okay.
I have blind sight.
Great. I've got the same passive perception as a blind creature.
I also
I'm
have
blind.
blind sense.
I'm not blind, I just don't have eyes.
Bit of column A, bit of column B.
You said 17 was the highest, right?
Yep.
Oops, I don't have my sheet up. Darn it, where'd my little guy go? I don't have his stats on me right now. I don't think he's gonna beat a 17 anyways. I'm gonna say that he doesn't fucking beat it. I don't care how big his bonus is. So as you're traveling, it's a pretty uneventful journey. Aristomachi, you're keeping pace very well with the horse. You stop every few hours to rest, drink some water, eat some granola bars, keep up your energy. You have your jug of plenty, your alchemy jug, so you're able to constantly replenish the group with water. You don't need to keep water skins. And it's at one point that you stop. The sun is just beginning to set. You suspect that you're a few hours away from the encampment now. You notice that you are being followed. As everyone is sitting, talking, out of the corner of your eye, just over a bit of a mound, you see movement, as if someone is watching you.
Kepare. Someone is here.
Someone, not us.
Yes, my little guru.
Okay.
Asuka will sort of tilt their head and, make the sort of emotion of a clock to sort of is asking you sort of which direction from us.
Am I able to identify which direction I sent someone?
Yeah, you kind of saw them coming from behind. So as if that's why you think they're following you, because they're just south of your location. You can't see them exactly anymore. They've kind of hidden behind a mound of sand or a cactus or something. So you're not familiar with where they are, but you know that they're behind you.
Yeah, so I make a 6 o'clock symbol.
Okay. And Asuka sort of just straightens up and sort of tilts their head. Looks like they're stretching out right now, trying to listen, I guess, and see if they can tell anything. they are within 60 feet of us,
Mhm.
I have 60 feet of blind sense.
Yeah, they're definitely
So-
within 60 feet.
Okay, so I can like feel them sort of behind us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, are they within 30 feet?
No, they're not that
Okay.
close. How long is 30 feet? Maybe they are within 30 feet. I'm so bad at distance.
It's 30 feet.
Thanks.
It's about 1/3 of the way to a baseball base.
How big is a school bus?
It's about 6 times my height.
A school bus, I think, is like 60 feet, maybe 50, 60 feet.
Okay, they're definitely not 30 feet then.
Okay.
Everything will now be school bus measurement. They're one school bus
I
away.
don't have school buses.
Yeah, neither do I.
I
I've
know,
got no
I know,
idea.
I know. You don't have any in the UK. So
You're muted. Yeah.
They're roughly about the size of a double decker.
yeah.
Okay,
There you go.
okay.
There you go.
So the maximum length of a school bus is 45 feet.
Okay. They're a school bus away then.
Okay, I know nothing then.
They're 45 feet away.
Yeah. So Asuka will. So how far? You said about 45 feet.
45 feet.
Okay, Asuka will make 4 or 5 behind Symbol to all of you, and like I think we've been together long enough that you know most of their general like hand motions and sign language essentially, and will nod towards Gerbil.
Yes, I know exactly what you're saying.
Make sort of a circular symbol.
Is there anything on this terrain that we could use for cover, like a dip in a sand dune, a rock?
Yes.
Are there shadows nearby?
Ooh. It is becoming dark, but this is pretty flat terrain. There are just like little mounds of dust.
But my companions cast shadows, don't they?
They do, yeah. So they do have shadows.
Who would have the biggest shadow?
Not
Mine's
me.
very fuzzy because light does in fact go through me.
Yeah.
Probably Asuka.
Yeah,
probably,
Asuka.
they're about like 5'7" I think, 5'8". So they're not tall, but out of the group besides you.
Okay, I would like to stand in Asuka's shadow,
Okay.
and I would like to teleport up to 60 foot away to the next shadow. That would be whoever it is that's following us.
Okay.
Using my shadow step.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So you don't have to see the next shadow. It's just
No, it's a magical teleport.
okay. All right. So you stand in Asuka's shadow, and just to the rest of the group, you're just gone. And from about 45 feet away, they hear, to Mr. Blobby, the familiar scream of Dr. Spore, and as he goes, "Ah, where did you come from?"
Oh, it's the doctor. Hi.
And you are standing in the doctor's shadow.
Oh, he's standing in mine.
Yeah.
Why are you following us?
Oh. Hold on, give me a second. You scared me.
I could have killed you.
As we
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm really scared right now.
as we roll back round and we come back within range, Gab's like,
Do you know how many combat abilities I've got?
I didn't expect you all to find me, to be honest. I thought I was being very sneaky. And you see that he was riding a very tiny pony.
Tiny pony.
Asuka comes around, we'll just tilt their head, shrug their shoulders, like why, and then just start tapping their foot as they cross their arms.
Okay, listen. When I asked you if I could come with you, I was kind of hoping you would say yes. And so when you told me that I couldn't come with you, I was a little bummed. So it's very important to me that I am there to make sure that my research is all present. You don't know what should be there, what should be gone. What if he just took one small thing? Or what if he, took an important blueprint? I just needed to make sure. I can't rest until I know that everything is safe. I'm sorry for being deceptive, but I'm very awkward in these situations. I didn't say I wanted to come along, and so I was hoping you would kind of get the feeling, and you didn't, and so I didn't know what to do, so I followed you. I'm sorry.
While he's explaining himself to the group, can Gerbil have his hand in his saddlebags?
In Dr. Sporin's saddlebag? Yeah, go ahead and make a sleight of hand check. Oh, what did you get? Where's my roll 20? Come on. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Your hands are in his saddlebag. Are you looking for anything, or are you just literally sticking your hand in his pack?
Oh, I'm feeling around to see if there's anything suspicious in there. Whilst my party interrogate him, I will find other means of evidence to see if I can kill him.
You find a small pack. You feel a small pack, kind of like a rolled up leather. You can feel some quills, some sheafs of paper, and then you feel something very strange. It's like a ball attached to it's I don't want to make that hand gesture on camera. You feel something round on a handle.
Oh
Ooh!
no.
What kind of texture does it feel like?
It feels like it's made of wood.
Oh no! I'm not touching that.
As you pull your hand out, it makes a soft rattling sound. You kind of jostle it a bit.
Well, maybe I will put it out. I'm gonna pull it out.
Oh.
Scared of what I find.
It's a baby rattle.
Aw. That's either really sweet or really ominous.
Dr. Sporin sees you and he's like, "What are you doing going through my things?"
Finding out if you're a spy!
I'm not a spy, I'm a doctor.
That's what a spy would say.
Thank you,
But
Mr.
that's
Blobby!
also what someone who isn't a spy would say.
Well, say something that neither of them would say.
I'm a doctor.
That's definitely something that both of them would say.
Listen.
You are also stalking us through the desert.
Okay, I know, that looks bad. I just... And you see his little body like tenses up and he scrunches his face and you can tell that he looks incredibly stressed out and he like bunches his hands and he's like, "Please, we are running out of time. I need your help. Can we just go to my encampment? I can explain everything once you get my research."
What do you think? She
Us
looked
will
at
get this sign, like this, which you all know to mean truth now.
I am trying to take the rattle off Gerbil so I can play with it.
I will happily give it to Mr. Blobby. Why are you carrying a rattle?
That is just a toy that I have from one of the children of my research assistants.
Insight check, please.
Do it, insight check.
18. 11 plus 7.
You can tell that he's lying.
You are lying.
I am lying. Oh gosh. I'm really bad at this.
So you are stalking, you are lying, and you are keeping secrets. If you want us to continue, I advise you to tell us. Otherwise, I'll do more than just pop out your shadow. And I'd like to intimidate.
Okay.
Gurgle will have drawn his blade to try and give Aristomache an advantage.
Didn't need it because I have a 19 plus 4.
Okay. Yeah.
Never mind.
This poor little doctor is like, I cannot tell you without showing you, but please, I promise that what I have to show you will blow your mind. And if we don't get there, Dr. Pudnick could kill an innocent baby. Please.
Why
And
did
with
you
your
leave
insight
it
check
back?
of 17, I'll say that you can tell that he is being incredibly honest and earnest with his plea right now.
There are children in danger?
Yes. Yes, please. We need to get to that camp.
Well, next time, start with that.
You'll understand everything when you see. Can we
not.
just go?
Asuka will place her hand on Dr. Sporn's shoulder, doing the reassuring, pat on the shoulder and nod once again, but then take out, a quick piece of parchment and charcoal that is quick, for quick communication, and will write, the chances of success are more likely if we know what we're getting into.
I can tell you this. There are 3 of them at my encampment. I saw them before I left. My research is locked in the main building. I don't think that they can get in easily. If we ride now, we may be able to stop them, but that's all I can tell you. I won't say any more until I can show you. You have to trust me.
Mr. Blobby is already trying to, pull himself into his basket because baby. Like, let's go.
Let us go save this Taruf.
Asuka will motion to Dr. Sporin. You. And then he'll make this space. And then he's basically saying 5, keep back away from us when we enter.
Okay. Yeah. He'll mount his pony and he'll wait for you all to go.
Get my fishing rod back out.
I'm in my basket.
I'm ready
All
to
right.
jog.
And Asuka
You
will
all-
mount the horse.
You all head out and you ride for another, I'd say, 60 to 90 minutes. And at this point, you hear from behind Dr. Spore and say, "It's just up ahead. We should dismount."
The basket just falls off the horse's back, just like, oh, okay.
And he's going to give you, once you arrive, I'm showing it to you all in roll 20, and I'll drop it in Discord for... Oops, I almost just dropped it to the wrong people. They would be like, what is that?
What's that?
Here,
Are we
we
looking?
go. Here, I'm showing it. I'm putting it in Discord for you.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
He gives you a map and tells you that this is the layout of his camp, and he points to it. Can they see it in chat?
Not currently, but I can sort that out if we want an overlay for that next week, possibly.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a map. It's just a handout that I'm showing the players. It's really just for them to reference it. It's fine. So he points to the big building and says, "This is where my research is kept under lock and key. And as you can see, I have a couple of other buildings where I was just sleeping, storing things. But this is where they would be trying to get in." Oh, thanks, Mr. Blobby.
And what direction are we approaching from?
You are coming from the never eat soggy waffles. You're coming from the northwest.
Soggy
That's
waffles.
how I remember.
I've never heard that.
soggy waffles,
I
north,
learned
east,
this.
southwest.
Never eat soggy Wheaties, but
Never eat shredded wheat.
Thank you. Okay. North, east, south, west. So we're coming from the weird octagon bit.
Yeah, you are coming from behind. You'll be nearest the large building.
Okay.
This way.
So E1. I just realised they had letters and numbers on them.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And where did he point to where his research was kept?
It's in the largest building.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so we're quite close to it.
And he's pretty sure that they probably haven't gotten inside yet.
If you want to try and scout ahead and see if anyone wants to scout ahead, at this point you can see the buildings. They're quite tall, but you can't see any details of the camp just yet.
Before we start to go to the camp, I would like to spend a key point and cast House Without the Trace on the party.
Okay. So what does that do?
And it gives everyone a +10 to dexterity stealth checks.
Damn. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna take a moment and cast Mage Armor on myself.
Okay.
I get slightly more opaque. That's it.
And Asuka will nod at Gerbil, motioning perhaps he should go sort of in front, like not like the head of the party, but like as a short range scout.
I'll draw my short bow.
Okay. So how are you going? How are you scouting forward? So you're coming in from the northwest, kind of behind this large building, but Dr. Sporn has explained to you that there are 5 smaller buildings, and the center of the camp, which is where a bulk of his research was kind of laid out. But what he's most concerned about is what's locked in this main building.
Gerbil would sneak alongside the main building and try and get in the gap between the two buildings on square I-4.
Okay.
And have a little scout out from there.
Yeah, go ahead and make a stealth check.
Sure thing. We'll just call +10 on this. 26.
Okay.
I'm actually rolling really badly and nothing's been below double digits yet.
Being level 10.
High levels. Oh yeah.
I think Asuka will motion sort of on the map for the rest of the group to try to go around the small buildings and approach from the back.
Okay. You want to kind of flank them.
Yeah.
I will take the furthest spot.
Mr. Blobby doesn't have the best tactical mind, so he'll probably just situate himself between Aristomache and Asuka. Just equidistant, like, is this where I'm supposed to be? Is this good? Just kind of oozing along in like a puddle. Very low.
Yeah, so if anyone's moving, I want everyone to make me stealth checks.
So 6 plus 12 plus 10.
Okay.
A lot.
That feels good. Feels like you got it.
Yeah, I'm going to say so. 16.
I got
20,
16.
28. There we go.
Because
Okay.
6 plus 10.
What the heck was that? What is? Oh, okay.
You got us.
Yeah, 17 total, I guess.
Wow, this +10 is really coming in to save y'all's butts.
Yep.
Oh, okay, sorry. There's a whole bunch of I still have 3D dice enabled or whatnot. That's new. Okay, I think I'm good.
What can I see as I sneak between these buildings?
Let me just roll, because I'm just gonna roll against Mr. Blobby because he's right there on the boundary. Oof.
Oh, yep.
So,
Yep. Mhm.
As Mr. Blobby, so which direction are you going? Oops, I just closed out a roll 20. Damn it.
I'm literally going in the direction that Aristomache and Asuka are going, just in between
Okay.
them. Like, I am very much following everyone else.
Looks like we got
And you guys are coming between the large building and the smaller building?
I am going to try and head to R2.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. The rest, like, I think we were gonna leave Gerbil to sort of scout from the front.
Yeah.
uh,
Right.
and then
Okay.
we're gonna try to come around behind them and draw. I mean, I think we drew their attention to the other side. So-
Yeah, so so what happens is Gerbil, since you kind of scouted ahead first, you see two what look like soldiers. They're kind of dressed in thick armor, and they have javelins, and they're kind of just standing there looking super bored. And they don't seem to be doing anything. There's no movement. They're just kind of like standing there. You can see one of them is chewing the dragonborn. There's a dragonborn and a Goliath. One of them is chewing like and they're standing in the center here around the fire. It looks like they're warming themselves. They've started up some fire pit. You don't see a third person. And as the three of you are coming around this leftmost, I'm just going to try and describe it for those who can't see the map, the rightmost small building in the northeast section, as you are kind of sneaking around and trying to like pop forward, Mr. Blobby, maybe you just get a little too excited about your stealth mission and you kind of roll forward into past the building. So while Aristomache and Asuka had stopped, you kind of like push your body forward, and one of them, the Goliath, was standing there kind of looking in that direction, and he just
So,
and now everyone needs to roll initiative.
can I have a surprise attack, please?
You will get a surprise attack, but still roll initiative.
Okay.
You'll get a surprise attack on your round.
Because I'm so surprising.
Unless you want a surprise attack, like literally right now. You can go
Oh,
first.
my initiative is also bad.
What I would have been, like, when I saw the two guards, I would have immediately have drawn two arrows Mongolian style. One held between
Okay.
two fingers and one pulled back, you know.
So let's
18.
roll initiative, and then we'll do that. I will be rolling initiative for Dr. Panik, although you don't know where he is. And I'm not going to close out of it this time. And I need to write. I need to be writing all of this down. Let me get my notebook. Should have this ready.
Dr. Panik has
I
some
for-
good initiative. Jeez.
I forgot. I forgot how good. How so? All right, Mr. Blobby, you got a 6.
Yep.
Suka, you got a 19. You got a 18,
Yes,
Leonie.
correct.
Damn. Gerbil, getting a
3
20.
levels of rogue.
At the moment, I'm just like a sentient puddle of honey. Just like, oh shit.
Which is what exactly sick means in Minotaur.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm so impressed that you made this language. That's just like
I
So-
cannot I
Oh,
cannot
yeah.
even take the credit. So shout out to my friend Sam, who gets all the credit.
Gerbil. What's your dexterity modifier?
5.
Okay, so you'll go first. So the initiative order is going to be Gerbil, and then Asuka, then Aristomache. Oh, sorry, Gerbil, and then Dr. Panak. Asuka, Aristomache, then
Look, I drew a gerbil.
Yeah!
and it's going to be the Dragonborn, then the Goliath, and we'll be finishing with Mr. Blobby. So Gerbil, go ahead and get your sneak attack in before we begin initiative.
I wanted to
So, could we say that they are surprised?
They will be surprised when you hit them because they are currently facing the trio.
Fantastic. In that case, I'd like to fire my first arrow at the Dragonborn-y type one.
Okay.
Ooh, does a 12 hit?
It hits. It meets.
Hey, cool. As an assassin, that will automatically be a critical hit, which does double damage.
Okay.
And it's a sneak attack as well. That also gets doubled. So there's 18. I need to minus my dex from the next attack, but so like 18 plus 15, that'd be 33 damage.
Okay. Wow. All right.
And
So, are you putting both arrows into him?
no, the next one with my extra attack would be at the other person.
Okay.
A 19?
That hits.
And again, if they're also surprised.
They are surprised.
Don't forget you have advantage on those rolls.
Hmm.
Do I? Oh yeah.
Yeah, if they haven't attacked yet.
Oh, you know, we hit anyway and they're automatically crits, so yeah.
Okay.
That'll be minus 5, 17, 28, 29 on the next person.
Okay. So, tell me what you did to the first person. How much?
33.
33. And then the second person you did
29.
29. Perfect. Just want to make sure. I think my cat maybe has to poop, and her litter box is in the closet, which I closed. So maybe right now would be a good time to take just a quick 5-minute break.
Yeah, sure, no
So my
problem.
cat can poop and no one has to watch.
Sure,
Thank you.
I've got a break screen ready. We'll go to
Sorry,
break.
everyone.
See you in
The
a
cat's
short
business
second.
calls.
Cliffhanger.
Will they die? Who knows? We'll find out when we come back.
All of furry nature.
All right, everyone, welcome back. My cat had to do her thing, and so we took a break, and now we're back. Gerbil just shot a volley of arrows into two unsuspecting militia soldiers, bandits, we don't know, and they have taken an arrow to the knee for sure. And you hit both of them kind of like boo boo in rapid succession, so by the time one of them's like rah, the other one is like rah. And now we begin with our full initiative, which Gerbil begins with you. That was your sneak attack because you were able to sneakily get by while the rest of your party kind of fucked up their stealth rolls, or one of them.
Yeah.
One of them got a little excited.
Sorry.
Now, I was told not to kill them, and although Gerbil gets excited, he does listen to the terms of getting paid. How do they look?
The two that you hit look like that hurt a lot. One of them, the arrow like went through his ribs. He was just wearing like kind of shitty leather, split through the leather, and it's kind of like when he turns, you can see it's like poking out the other side. And he's like, what the fuck? What? Dave, there's an arrow in me. And the other one like took it in the shoulder, and he's like, I know, me too. What?
Gerbil will continue to fire. they seem fine. Gerbil will fire again. They've still not had a turn, so I still have advantage in sneak attack and stuff.
Okay.
Although they're not surprised anymore, so they won't be auto crits.
Okay.
That's another 14 on the Dragonborn.
Okay.
And then extra attack. 18 on the other one.
Okay.
Which is 22 damage. And then Gerbil will use his cunning action to hide.
Okay. Yeah, so you hit them again with arrows, and these ones don't go quite as deep. The Dragonborn like gets hit, and he like rips it out, and he's like, all right, who's shooting arrows at us? It's our break, you guys. And he looks, but he can't see you. And from all of the commotion, Dr. Panak is roused, and he comes out of the small building that is next to the large building. So there were 4 buildings. There's the five small buildings, the large building, and then a small building adjacent to it, and then 2 buildings kind of set up across from one another. He comes out from that small building that is next to the large building, and he looks furious. So he comes out, he throws open the door, and he's like, what is all of this ruckus? And that will be his turn, since he wasn't ready really to fight. But he's aware that you all are there now. So now Asuka, it is your turn.
So Asuka will step forward into the firelight, into the light of the fire, and will point at them, motion the dropping of weapons and the putting of hands up in the air, and then they will draw their katana and wakizashi as they use 2 swords, and they will take the defensive action.
Okay.
Because they are allowing them a chance to surrender.
Okay.
So they take the defensive action, and that will end their turn. But they've approached them so that they are now in front of their the rest of their group, right? They're out in front.
Gotta put on our fighting music. They look at you, and the Dragonborn with the like arrow through his ribs is like, we're not gonna give up. You just shot us. And now, Aristomachi, it's your turn.
I cannot, whether or not they surrender. I charge out.
Okay.
Full speed. And I would like to take...
The Goliath is like, whoa.
He's the first to go down. We're the same size. I would like to leap into the air, raise my fist, and punch him in the face, please.
Okay. Roll a punch.
Okay. I'm using Fight Club now because I need it to do the math for me. That says critical hits.
You critically punch this guy square in his fucking nose.
Excellent. And he takes 6 points of bludgeoning damage. However, I then spin, raise my foot to then kick him
Isn't
in the
that
jaw.
6 doubled? That 6
yeah.
is doubled as well, right?
12.
Okay.
I rolled 2 6s. So that's 12,
Okay.
but then I spin and my foot raises and I would like to crack him in the jaw again.
Okay.
For an 18 plus 5, which is a 23.
Yeah, that hits.
For 1 point. However, now for my extra attack, I would just like to punch him again in the face.
How many points of damage was the second attack?
Just 1.
Just 1.
Which is a
Okay.
19. However, I'd like to spend a key point to make this a stunning strike.
Okay.
I need him to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
All right.
I would like to disrupt the key in his body.
He rolled a 21.
I don't know what my save DC is.
Is it wisdom?
My brain automatically went to wisdom as well.
Yeah.
I can.
So 8 plus
Okay.
proficiency plus wisdom.
Okay. 8. My proficiency is 4.
Yeah, wisdom.
And then 3. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. My save DC is 16. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
His key remains.
Yeah. But he took all that damage, so he...
Oh, I would. Oh, wait a minute. Can I do this as well? Sorry, but bear with. This is my first monk, guys. Just bear with me.
Monks have a lot that they can do.
Yeah,
so much.
yeah, we do. But I also multi-classed just because, just to make my life easier. Yeah, cutting action to dodge. I can do that.
Okay.
So that will be the end of my turn. Thank you.
So yeah, you come out and you do these super sweet moves, and you punch him, and then you kick him, and then you like punch him again, and it just like and he falls to his knees with just blood pouring from his nose and his mouth, and he looks on death's door. You like his nose is been pushed into his face. He has now an inverted nose, and he's just like he's kneeling on his knees, just blood dripping from his face. And now it is his friend's turn. I don't think he's gonna get a turn, to be honest. It's his friend's turn, and his friend is like, "Whoa! Hey! What is going on here?" And because you are in front of him, he's going to stab at you with his javelin. So does a 17 hit? You Aristomachi?
Just literally, that is my armor class.
Okay. So you'll take 9 points.
Is Aristomachi within? Is this guy within 5 feet of me, possibly?
Yeah, you're all pretty close to one another. I would say not 5 feet because Aristomachi ran out.
Okay.
She charged.
Mhm.
So you're probably like 25 feet away.
Okay. Cool.
How much points do I take?
So you take 9 points of piercing damage on that first attack, but he is going to attack you again. He has multi-attack, so he'll attack you with his javelin again. 16 does not hit.
I dodge.
Okay.
Like the Matrix.
It's super cool.
Awesome.
Oh, actually, he has advantage on this attack because... No, I'm going to say that his ally is incapacitated because he's like knocked clean. So he does not have advantage. All right, it is now the Goliath's turn, and he is going to push himself up. He's still on his knees, and he's going to grab his dagger, and he's going to, Arishimachi, attempt to like stab you in the thigh. An 8 does not hit, but he gets a second attack. A 13 does not hit. So he's just very weakly like, All right. Mr. Bobby, it's your turn.
Okay, I'm still a very, very anxious puddle, but seeing that everyone else seems to be fighting, and we look like we're doing the fighting thing, is there any way for me to move so that both of the adversaries are in a line from me?
In a line, I think that would use all of your movement. So they're kind of standing, they were both on either side of the fire, and now they have come to be in front of Aristomachi. So they're standing right next to one another. You would have to come out from behind the building and then come around Aristomachi for them to be in a line. I think that, what's your movement?
It's terrible. It's 20 feet.
You could do it, but that would be your full movement.
Okay, I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna cast Lightning Bolt and just fry the fuckers.
Okay.
That is a, they have to make a dex saving throw.
Okay.
Oh, let me put it in. I'm gonna... Hold on. Why don't you let me put
Lightning Bolt is a spell, right?
Yes, it is a 3rd level spell. Hold on. There we go. There we go. It's in roll 20 now.
Actually, Dr. Panak is going to counter that. He sees you kind of like pull yourself up, and he is going to cast a counter spell. What level are you casting the spell at?
3rd.
If it's 3rd level or lower, it fails. So you feel as if you had like started to accumulate this lightning, and you're like, "Brr," and you see Dr. Panak from across, and he goes, "Halt!" And the lightning just kind of like, and you burp.
It's just a that was mean. I am gonna.
Well, you just tried to kill my men.
So did everyone. I am going to spend 2 sorcery points, and I'm gonna cast invisibility on myself.
Okay.
Just be like, nope.
Okay. We're back at the top of the order with Gerbil.
I'm now invisible. Invisible goo.
Is Gerbil's heard one thing, and that is magic. And Gerbil knows that focusing on magic users is important. So is Dr. Panic within 20 feet of Gerbil?
Dr. Panic's 50 feet away. Actually, no, because you're right there. You look, and Dr. Panic is right, like literally right next to you. You were behind the building that he had just come out of.
Perfect. In that case, they are within my stealth range. I would like to sneak behind them.
Okay. Do it.
As I'm doing so, I will draw my rapier slowly.
We gotta roll a stealth check. You can't just do it.
Okay. Stealth check. No more.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, you stealth behind him.
I'll come behind him with my rapier and just very gently, just like prod. Is he wearing like robes or armor or anything?
Yeah, he's wearing robes, and you're like they're knee length robes, And since you're so little, you can see, since you're crouching, that he's not wearing anything underneath the robes.
No.
Oh. Well, I know where I'm aiming, though. There's a target there and everything. Would this count as surprising him?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It's
It's
very
very
by Knights of the
surprising.
Ghoulies, yeah.
Well, then I will take that advantage. Thank you very much. And I'll go stabby stab!
Oh, oh.
Yeah, that hits.
Where are you stabbing him again?
It rhymes with, the only word I can think of that rhymes with it is also dirty.
Rock.
Okay.
I
In
know,
his rock.
no.
In the Ghoulies, then, yeah.
Actually, I was thinking more, go for internal bleeding. I was aiming for the anus, as it were.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
Okay.
my god, you stabbed him in
Okay.
the ass. Oh my god.
So that'd be, 20, 32, minus 5, 27 points of damage. And then
Okay.
Oh.
my extra attack, because I may have made an overpowered character. Hey!
He's gonna
Oh
be
my
so...
goodness. Okay.
You might be dead.
Jesus.
What an...
34.
You did both of
Really?
those damages?
Yeah, 34.
Okay.
Plus...
I will ask you this once, and then I'm not going to ask you guys again. Are you attempting to do non-lethal damage? Keep in mind that you attempted to stab him in the anus, so answer truthfully.
I mean...
Did Gerbil forget when he went to go stab this guy in the butthole? Did he forget that he was trying to do non-lethal damage?
Gerbil got excited because the other two people took lots and lots of damage, you know, so he figured he could let off the chain a little bit, you know, get them really bad, and then Aristomache would come in and backslap everyone to, you know. So he got real excited, and he went full prod, and I mean, it might not, I wouldn't call it non-lethal damage, but it might be non-lethal for about 5 minutes damage, because it's mostly going to be internal, right?
Okay, so
Oh,
explain to chat, explain to the people who are watching how you killed this man by shish kebabbing him up the butt.
The blade,
Because you just killed him.
the
You
blade,
just killed Dr. Punic.
the blade
Oh,
does not
geez.
emerge from his body anywhere else. Gerbil tries very hard to keep the blade inside at all times. So he just goes, stab, stab, and he's like, he'll probably be alright. And
He just falls to the ground next to you.
he assumes, like, Gerbil turns away immediately and runs to do his bonus action hide again whilst the person is falling over.
Is anyone else good aligned, or is it just me? Oh, jeez. Wow.
Whoops.
Oh.
All right.
But where
I think we
to
need
go?
the moment. I think we need the
Okay.
moment.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So yeah, that's what you did. You killed this man. He was very shocked, and the first time you stabbed him, he wanted to cry out, but then you just stabbed him again so good, he instantly died. And it's his turn next, and on his turn, he just falls to the ground like a sack of potatoes, and his robe comes undone, and he is just naked and dead. All right, Asuka, it is your turn.
Do we notice that he's dead?
I'm gonna say that you definitely noticed that he's dead.
Asuka's gonna look at the other two. And then the one that stabbed Aristomachi, Asuka is going to attempt to hit them with the backside, the dull side of his blades.
Okay.
So he's gonna
Going
make
for a blade snap.
yeah.
And you're going for, sorry, which one? The Dragonborn or the half-dead Goliath?
the Dragonborn.
Okay.
So let me see. Let me make that is one. So
Let me just close Dr. Panak's character sheet because I don't need
Oh,
it.
Oh
jeez.
my god!
Oh my god!
So that Well, it's not that much damage because I rolled terribly.
Okay.
8 points of bludgeoning, like non-lethal bludgeoning damage. I'll use because I have 2 attacks on my turn, so I'll slash him again, like with the non-lethal backside of my blade.
We need to stop saying backside.
13 does hit. It does
13
hit.
does hit. It's gonna be 6 more points of non-lethal bludgeoning damage, and then Asuka will stop and make the motion to drop weapons again, and look at them.
So this dragonborn's a little bit taller than you, so you're kind of doing like an upwards like ha, ha. And as you hit him each time, he like turns his cheek and you just slapped me with a sword, dude. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not giving up. You've insulted me.
I will use my bonus action to use my offhand weapon. As I am a dual wielder.
Okay.
And I will not be using the flat of my blade this time.
All right. You guys are pretty easy to rile up, it seems. 15 hits.
So 8 more points of slashing damage. And then I will once again make the sign to surrender.
He's not going to do it. He's like, it's not happening. You're going to have to kill me. You're going to have to kill me.
And I've gotten up into melee range with all of them at this point.
Yeah. Is that your turn? Are you done?
That's my turn. I do one thing. I'm a fighter. I do one thing, and that's hit people.
All right, Aristomachi, it is your turn. You have a screaming dragonborn who's been fueled by the fact that he has an arrow through his ribs and just got slapped by a sword, which feels extra offensive. And you have the Goliath who is like still struggling to stay upright on his knees, but is crumpling and just bleeding profusely.
Can I just say big thank you to all of the 100-bit donations coming in for Dr. Panic and his poor anus.
That poor man.
Well, if at least
coming.
if something good can come out of this.
Okay. I would like to I would like to try and knock the Goliath unconscious.
All right. You just have to hit him. You don't even need to do damage.
Okay, so yeah, that's actually a 22, 17 plus 5.
Yeah, you hit him.
Yeah.
He drops like a sack of rocks.
Okay, I spin round and I go to deal with the screaming dragonborn. So I get to use another punch to the face, which was a natural 1.
Oh, you miss.
Yeah, I miss. I'm going to spend 1 key point. I just read something about flurry of blows. I can spend 1 key point to do 2 more as a bonus action. So that is a 17 and a 21.
Those both hit.
4, 6, and 5. And then my extra attack, I'm going to spin again and kick him in the face.
Okay.
Try and knock him out. 24.
That hits.
For another 7 points of damage.
You knock him out. As you spin and your heel connects, your little hoof connects with his face, his tongue just walls out and he drops to the ground. All right, you did it. You successfully didn't kill 2 of the 3 marks.
Asuka will white sort of shake off the blood on his wakizashi and then sheathe both of them and they will shake their head. Just if they could click their tongue, they would be making that sound right now.
Aristomachi will instantly just get down on the floor and start meditating.
Okay.
Mr. Blobby is heading for the big building while still invisible.
Okay.
5 or 6 seconds after the combat ends, Gerbil jumps back out round the corner ready to stab the wizard again and is like, ah! Oh!
So as soon as
no.
this dragonborn hits the ground, Dr. Sporin runs out from where he had been hiding, doesn't really notice that you killed Dr. Panak, doesn't notice anything. He is just in a state of pure panic. He runs to the large room and unlocks it. And
He probably
Mr.
runs
Bobby,
over me.
yeah, go ahead and make me a perception check.
Okay. Oh no. Okay.
Okay.
8.
So you're not able to see anything before he slams the door shut.
Are there any gaps around the door at all?
No, it's a tight little door.
Oh, because I can
So
get through if there's an inch.
he runs in and he shuts the door, and there's a silence that I'm sure almost all of you, maybe except for Gerbil, appreciates after battle, which is like the silence of life having been taken and a meditation on the process. So a silence has settled over this encampment as Aristomachi is meditating and Osuka is cleaning his blades. Mr. Blobby is making his way maybe around this building, trying to see if he can get in invisible to everyone. And Gerbil is, I don't know, like jumping up and down like Waluigi.
No, just
Is there any
wiping his
windows?
wiping-
Anything?
wiping his filthy
Gerbil?
rapier on the robe of this person.
So Mr. Matke has her eyes closed and she's like, Gerbil, did you forget that we weren't supposed to kill anyone?
Oh, I forgot magic users are more squishy than gods.
Literally.
So as this silence crests, you hear from the inside of this building something high-pitched. This is a sound that Aristomachi that you have heard on those long winter nights at home when there wasn't enough food and you were all told that both abundance and a dearth of bounty were all blessings from Alduin. And Asuka, you have heard this sound in your travels through villages where there aren't enough food for everyone. And Gerbil and Mr. Blobby, maybe you have experienced this yourself, and this sound is familiar, and it's something that you have made. It's the sound of something very hungry.
Looking for a window.
And Dr.
Desperate for a
Sporin,
window.
the door opens, and Dr. Sporin comes out, and he's clutching something in his hand. And it's almost comically as large as him. It's wrapped in a blue bundle, and there's dried blood on the outside. And he comes out and he says, I have something to show you. And he extends so you can see the bundle. And what you see is a strange little face. It's pink and all squished up, totally bald. And it has these big gummy smile as it screams. And he says, this is a human. And I need to find its clan.
A what?
Just visible and stuck to the side of the building now. It's a what?
They were wrong. Humans do exist. And we need to find more of them. And as he's saying this, this little baby is...
And like a tendril just kind of almost literally like oozes down like it's dripping just to above. And then the rattle just kind of like comes through the ooze until Mr. Blobby's just shaking the rattle above the baby like, please stop making that noise.
And as you shake this rattle, and the baby just keeps crying because he's very, very hungry, and this rattle doesn't interest him, Dr. Sporin looks at each of you in turn and says, his mother came to me. She didn't make it, and I don't know how to take care of this thing. Everything we've been told is wrong. We aren't the only things on this earth. Humans exist. Will you help me find more of them? And that's where we're going to end today.
So freaking good, Heavenly! So good!
I think I might be able to feed it. What liquid can I spawn in my alchemy jug? No, not like that! Not like that! Let's correct that! No! Stop it!
Blobby thinks all of you mammals are very strange, so this is just another strange mammal.
My alchemy jug.
Yes, obviously. That's what we were all
That's
thinking.
100% what we were all
You were awful. No, that was amazing.
Yeah, so good. Well, everyone, we've got some credits to run, so we'll be running those. Also, the bot will be spamming links at you in the chat whilst we leave. Thank you so much for coming along. Please check out Mage Hand Press and Burden Storm Publishing, who are our sponsors. And until next time, we'll see you later. Keep on evoking emotions. We're back at 7 with a Weird West D&D expansion, which I'll be running. I just need to find the credit sheet. There it is. See you later, everyone. Bye.
Nice.